Good evening. My name is Amanda Gorrin.
And I'm Hannah Epstien.
This past Saturday, a 12-year-old was shot in Newburgh, New York. The child was shot in the hand at about 9:40 p.m., and officials state that he was transported to DiFiore, St. Luke's Cornwall Hospital immediately by Empress Emergency Medical Services with non-life-threatening injuries. Law enforcement states that the suspect remains at large. With that, authorities state that a large group of people were in the area when the shooting occurred, and that witnesses should reach out to the Hudson Valley Crime Analysis Center to assist in the investigation.
President Donald Trump signed an executive order last Thursday taking aim at the Smithsonian's 21 museums and galleries, the National Zoo, and 9 research facilities, looking to revoke federal funding and remove certain exhibits. The order, titled Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History, reads, once widely respected as a symbol of American excellence and a global icon of cultural achievement, the Smithsonian Institution has in recent years come under influence of divisive, race-centered ideology. This shift has prompted narratives that portray American and Western values as inherently harmful and oppressive. While the Smithsonian is not a federal agency, it does get federal funding, and some employees are civil servants. Cutting funding to the institution could have great impact. Trump also directed Vice President J.D. Vance to eliminate improper, divisive, or anti-American ideology from programs at the Smithsonian, particularly at the forthcoming American Women's History Museum and the National Museum of African American History and Culture. And now for the science report.
Good evening. My name is Shuvam, and I will be your science correspondent. Tonight, we'll look back. 5 years since COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic. Are we ready for the next one? What have we learned? What have we forgotten? And what could it cost us? Good evening. For today's science report, we'll be looking at the COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 changed everything. Worlds shut down, cities crumbled, economies crashed away, and millions of lives were lost. Now, experts are warning the next pandemic may not be far away, and we may not be prepared. According to doctors and long-time COVID researchers, the pandemic may be over in headlines, but for many, the impact is still real. For families that have lost loved ones just last week, the pain is still fresh, they say. In 2024, over 500 Americans still died from COVID 19 each week. That's a fraction of the nearly 17,000 weekly deaths in 2020, but is still a warning for that the virus is far from gone. The US and the World Health Organization ended their COVID 19 emergencies in 2023. Public testings were reduced, free vaccines were limited, and the strategy shifted from a crisis response to managing COVID like a flu. But is that enough? Scientists have learned a lot about COVID 19. It's an airborne virus, it mutates and causes global waves of chronic illnesses, known as long COVID. As we look forward, experts say we are safer than before, with new technology and vaccine developed at record speed. Others warn that actually we are less prepared. Dr. Al Ali says that COVID 19 became a political battlefield and has left the public divided, distrustful, and less willing to listen to when the next crisis comes. And there is another major shift. The United States is pulling out of the World Health Organization. Dr. Peter Chi Hong, an infectious disease expert, says that it could mean that we are less prepared and less globally coordinated, and a weaker response could be there in the future. So, are we ready for the next pandemic? Some says that yes, we are, while others say that we are more vulnerable than ever. What do you think? Let's keep this conversation going. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay healthy.
And the show I'm here to recommend to you is Daredevil Born Again. Daredevil Born Again is one of Marvel's new shows streaming on Disney+. It connects elements from the old Daredevil shows and puts it back onto this newer show and goes into its deeper hidden meanings. Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio both come back reprising their roles, both as Matthew Murdock, Daredevil, and Wilson Fisk as Kingpin. This show has some of the interesting characters returning from the original Netflix show, but as well as, well, I don't want to spoil that for anyone for who returns in a very interesting way. this Marvel Disney Plus show is very street grounded with crime and law and has very awesome fight scenes. I promise you, this is one of the very few shows Marvel has put out lately and is a really good show now, and I cannot wait for it to get even better as the show progresses. Even if you're not a big comics person or you haven't seen the show, then don't worry, it'll be a heavy hitter, but also a thrilling and exciting show just for you.
Yvonne Flowers recently delivered her State of the City address. Her speech began with the discussion of a $10 million grant to the city for the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, which is working to improve and renovate downtown areas. Flowers' administration has flourished, securing about $40 million in state and federal funding within her first 15 months in office. Additionally, Flowers has continued to push for an end to homelessness through exploring possible housing options and advocating for those who are in need of assistance. Success can be seen through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development awarding the city of Poughkeepsie a $500,000 grant to be put towards a housing initiative. Flowers shared that she's elated to say Poughkeepsie was selected as one of only 13 communities across the country to be awarded the planning grant, and the only one in New York State. The Flowers administration appears to be setting up the city of Poughkeepsie for success in the coming years.
A 7.7 magnitude earthquake and an aftershock measuring 6.4 rocked Myanmar and neighboring Thailand on Friday, destroying buildings, a bridge, and a dam. In Myanmar, the death toll has climbed to 2,056, with more than 3,900 people injured and 270 people reported missing. This number continues to grow. Across central part of the country, homes, religious sites, schools, universities, hotels, and hospitals have all been damaged or destroyed. Rescue volunteers have spent days trying to free people from collapsed buildings. In Mandalay, one of the worst affected cities and the country's second largest, with more than 1.7 million inhabitants, people camped out in streets for a third successive night. The city's 1,000-bed general hospital has also been evacuated, with hundreds of patients being treated outside. After a rare request by Myanmar's isolated junta for international help, possibly due to the overwhelming magnitude of the impact, international assistance began to arrive over the weekend. China and Russia have sent aid and personnel, while India, Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore have also sent assistance. And now for our sports report.
Good evening, Marist. My name is Barbieri, your MCTV sports reporter, and we've got a lot to cover. Let's start with college hoops. Premier game since we last checked in. Number 3 Texas Tech came all the way back in an overtime thriller against number 10 Arkansas, kicking Cinderella off the dance floor en route to the Elite Eight. But that was on Thursday, and now it's Monday, so we have just 4 teams remaining. Auburn takes on Florida, and Duke takes on Houston in the Final Four, each of them being the 1 seed. How's your bracket holding up? Let's talk about the women's side. UCLA, South Carolina, and Texas have all punched their tickets into the Final Four. As we speak, UConn and USC are duking it out for the final bid. USC is the favorite going in. Now over to Major League Baseball. We're in Poughkeepsie, so we're talking about the Yankees and the Mets. The Yankees had their home opener during a 3-game series against the Brewers where they lit up the scoreboard, notching 36 runs and mashing 15 home runs on their way to a clean sweep. How'd they do it? Well, it might have something to do with the new torpedo bats they've been using, designed by MIT physicists Aaron Lienhart. These torpedo bats redistribute the weight from the ends of the bat into the middle to make the sweet spot larger, an innovation that has become the subject of controversy. It should be noted, however, that the Yankees captain Aaron Judge, who leads the team in home runs with 4, has opted to use a normal bat. As for the Mets' shining offseason acquisition, Juan Soto crushed his first home run in blue and orange off the facade of the second deck in right field against the Houston Astros. Despite this, the Mets did go on to lose the series 2-1, including their first game of the season, an uncharacteristic start for the franchise so renowned for hot starts. Let's look ahead to the future. We're less than 1 month away from the NFL draft, and in turn, less than 1 month away from the Halftime on the Hudson mock draft. One more exciting announcement before we kick it back to the desk. Stay tuned tomorrow for the release of a very special competition between Center Field and the Red Fox Report in an action-packed showdown. What am I talking about? Well, the press conference for the event drops tomorrow at 3 p.m., so stay tuned. Signing off, this is your MCTV sports reporter, Gene Barbieri. Let's hear it from Caleb.
Hi, I'm Hiking Caleb, once again here to talk to you about hiking. Today I'm at the Bray Seafront, where that is in fact an ocean. It's hard to tell, but it is. There's a lot of fog there, but you know, we do what we do. We are here to do a hike. Unfortunately, we could not do that hike. It's been caved in since 2020, and we tried to climb the gate. It did not work. Emma managed to squeeze on in, but the rest of us couldn't fit. We have seen a lot of dogs. That was awesome. And I'm just, because I like you, I'm going to show you a really cute picture of a dog I took.
I mean, he is so cute. Anyways, Bray, spelled B-R-A-Y, is a seaside town known for its tourism. It was initially designed in the 1800s as a resort town, but wasn't quite able to match the appeal that foreign tourism offered. However, it remains today as an excellent spot for a day trip, being reachable by car, bus, or train. The cliffs offer excellent hiking opportunities despite the blockage on the main trail. Even with the fog, there were fantastic views, although it did mean that everything came out a little bit muted on my camera. I would recommend checking the forecast when planning a trip here, just to avoid the worst of the mud. This trip was very fun, even if it was one of the shorter ones. Seeing the beach was great, and the number of dogs meant that there was never any shortage of pets. While I was disappointed that we couldn't do the main hike, Olwen, Emma, and I all went off on a side trail that went into the forest, and it was incredible. We walked 50 feet, and it was like we were in the middle of the forest.
Anyways, it's a beautiful day here, and I'll see you next time.
Mary's second annual Day of Giving took place on March 26th. Red Fox Nation came together, and the true success can be found within the numbers. In just 24 hours, the community earned about $1.2 million, over double the amount raised last year. There was also a 20% increase of donors this year, reaching 3,400 contributors. Ultimately, the Day of Giving justified the tight-knit nature of the Marist community and provides hope for the future of this institution.
President Trump has once again floated the idea of testing the Constitution's presidential term limits by seeking a third term, as his administration continues to challenge constitutional provisions and push an expansive view of executive power. The 22nd Amendment prohibits a person from being elected U.S. president for more than twice. In an exclusive interview with NBC News, the president said that there were methods for doing so and clarified that he was, quote, not joking. Some legal experts point to plausible strategies for attempting said run and runarounds the 22nd Amendment, but under difficult and somewhat unusual scenarios. One such scenario would be Vice President J.D. Vance running for office and then passing down the role to President Trump. Or he could attempt to change the law itself. However, amending the Constitution to abolish the two-term limit would be exceedingly difficult, requiring ratification from 3/4 of the states. This would be the latest in Trump's test against the nation's system of checks and balances.
Hello again. My name is Bobby, and your riddle is: throw away the outside and cook the inside, then eat the outside and throw away the inside. What is it? Your hint is it can be popped or grilled. All right, your time is up. The answer was corn on a cob. That's all for today, folks. See you next time.
This just in, we're done. My name is Hannah Epstien.
And I'm Amanda Gorrin.
And this is MCTV News.